Basically, it started, I was pretty much at the end of my line as far as, knowing what I was going to do with my future. I had no idea, what the future held. And I still, we never know, right? But we can definitely plan and make those, decisions that will help our future. But for the most part, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know anything about, you know, anything that I teach right now. It's pretty much all stuff that I've, read. But for the most part, I didn't know anything about anything. I just knew that I wanted to do something. I knew that I was going to be great at something. And previous to barbering, I was pretty much just lifting weights and working at like a vitamin shop nearby where where I was living at the time. And finally, I was cutting hair actually, in my mother's laundromat in the back of the apartment building where we lived at the time. And people would always tell me, why don't you become a barber? You should, think about really taking this seriously. And I kept putting it off and putting it off because I didn't think that, that it was something that I really thought that I was capable of doing, or thought that I really wanted to do it for, as a profession. And then finally, I was just pretty much at the end, like I said, I was at the end of my line, and I was just getting fed up with not having anything and just, not having any type of direction. And I just finally made a phone call to this barbershop. The name of the barbershop was Hair Masters, and it was on Monterey Road in San Jose, California. And I asked to speak to the owner or somebody that I could talk to about signing up for Barber College. And then pretty much from there, the lady that had answered the phone, she handed the phone to this man by the name of TJ, and he had just graduated from a barber college in San Francisco. And so I met up with him, and he didn't even know me. He didn't know me from a can of paint, and he picked me, and I basically drove over there, and we made our way on over to San Francisco Bayview Barber College, and I signed up that day. Well, it definitely taught me, that in order basically to grow the muscles, you have to tear it down, and then you got to feed it, and you got to rest, and you have to be consistent. And I noticed, that the more consistent I was with my working out, the bigger I would get, the more muscular I would get, the more consistent I was with my diet, the more leaner I would look, the better I would look, the drier I would look. And so I just pretty much, applied those same principles to my barbering. I just knew that, if I stay consistent with this over time, that I'm going to achieve the results that I want to achieve. And it's really just that simple. Like a lot of people, they think that you just get successful overnight, and a lot of people don't realize, they don't see they don't see everything leading up to that success. Another way that bodybuilding definitely helped me was, just that focus, that laser-like focus. Like I knew exactly, pretty much for the most part what I wanted my body to look like. So I just put, those same principles into my barbering career, and I knew pretty much from the gate what I wanted to accomplish. And little by little, I figure out different things that I want to do, like different levels that I want to step up to next. And I pretty much just keep going. Even when I feel like, even like with working out, there's times when you're not growing. A lot of people realize in the beginning when they're working out, they grow real fast. A lot of people put on anywhere from 20 to 30 pounds of muscle their first year, and then after that, they won't put on anything. They will put on maybe 10 pounds if they're lucky a year after that. And that's the part that gets discouraging, because you're not seeing as much results. And it's the same thing with this. Like in the beginning, even with my YouTube, I noticed big time results, posting of videos. And there was times where I was like, it felt like I was working even harder as a barber and entrepreneur and doing different things, and I wouldn't see any results. And I'm like, what's going on? And it almost made me like, just, just be a barber, just cut hair and just be happy that you're a barber and you have your own shop. But then a certain part of me is like, no, just keep going. You know what I mean? You're gonna have, like a Mr. Olympia, for instance, a real professional bodybuilder. I was obviously never on that level. I just won a local, show, which was still a big accomplishment for me. But it takes 15 to 20 years, unless you have really good genetics, like Phil Heath. That guy is awesome. I got a lot of respect for him. But it takes at least 15 years to build a top quality physique to be able to compete on that level. And I feel it's the same thing with, you know, being an entrepreneur. It's the same thing with being a barber. I would say not a little bit of both, a lot of both. So I definitely been through like a lot of stuff that's created me to be, you know, just on a different level. Just the way I look at things, you know, is just definitely on a whole nother level. But definitely I try to read as much. Lately I actually put myself back on a strict regimen. I'm gonna start reading at least, try to knock down at least one book every day to 2 days. And lately I've just been reading about one book a week. But for a while I was definitely knocking down a book a day, at least every day or 2 days. And it's like some books, obviously, you know, you're like a book this thick, this 300 pages, you're not gonna knock it down in one day. That'd be a book that you kind of go through, you know what I mean? Read like, you know, a couple chapters a day, and then you have like your smaller books, you know. But for the most part, as long as it averages out, you know, that's what it really comes down to. And some books, you know, they'll have like, you know, maybe a couple chapters of real good information, and I'll skim through that, and then, you know, the rest of it won't really have anything for me. I'll kind of just skim through it, and if I don't really feel like it's doing anything for me, I just, you know, on to the next. But I still consider that as a book read, because as long as you're getting the main premise of what the book's all about, that's really all that matters, you know. So a lot of people, they'll have like their main premise, what their focal point is, what they want to talk about, and you read that, and then you'll continue to read the book, and you're starting to realize, wait a minute, there's not really too much else in here other than that one part. But as long as you got something from the book, that's all that matters.
And these are all self-help books, are they?
Yeah, all of them. That's all I read. Self-help and spiritual books, metaphysical books, stuff like that.
Okay, no, because I really respect and love the way that you kind of like translate this to the barbering community and tell them how it fits in with their life as a barber. I really admire and respect that. That's good stuff.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. And also, today I got the great opportunity of going through your Cut Above the Rest, the first volume, and I found it very informative, and I love the way that you first start off with your motivational speech to condition them, as we spoke about earlier on today. I love the way that you talk about the tools. You do a review on the overall usage of barbering tools, and I love the way that you just basically go through all of the different haircuts, and everything's made so simple. I mean, to me, it's got to be one of the best educational barbering videos there is on the market. Tell me about what you was thinking when you actually made this, and what was your end goal, talking about goals, when you created the Cut Above the Rest series.
Yeah, well, so basically when I've actually revised the DVDs about 1.5 years ago to a year ago, and but originally, I mean, I stuck to the same game plan. Really all I did was added more haircuts. So the original ones, I believe, were 8 or 9 haircuts on there, and I've revised it from 8 or 9 haircuts to 15 haircuts each, so it's 2 discs now. And really, I mean, when I first made the DVDs, my main goal was just to make it as simple as possible. Like, a lot of people will make try to make haircutting so much harder, and they'll just add all this fluff and all this extra, you know, nonsense. And it's kind of like, I think of it like Bruce Lee, you know, when he came into the game, he wasn't trying to disrespect Kung Fu and all these different forms of martial arts. He was just basically letting people know, like, you know, all that fancy stuff, you're not going to do that in a real fight. So it's like, I look at it like that, the same thing with barbering. You're not going to do all that in a real barbershop environment. You're not going to be, you know, doing all that extra stuff. You're just gonna stick to the main principles: your clipper over comb, your fading, your tapering, your basic shear over comb, shear work, and, you know, texturizing. But for the most part, that's what you want to do, is you want to keep it simple. You don't want to, you know, sit there and make things too complicated. I mean, you want to get people in and out, not in a bad way, not like, you know, you want to give them that time that they deserve in the chair, but you don't want to be spending 2 hours on a haircut trying to, you know, fix different positions and different, you know, steps that you've made that now you have to go back because, you know what I mean? So I really just try to keep it as simple as possible, with just steps that even sometimes steps that I might not even follow necessarily, but I thought out, like, okay, if I was a beginner barber, how could I make this DVD so that people will, because to be honest with you, when I cut hair, I just freestyle everything. Sometimes I do it differently, Then other times it's not always the same, but for the most part, I know what I'm doing, so where I could start from the top, I could start from the bottom, I could start from the middle, then go to the bottom, then go to the top. I could start from this side, do the exact same thing identically to the left side, to the right side. And so it's like, I'm at that level though, that confidence level where I could just do whatever I want and it's always gonna look exactly the same. But I always tell like beginning barbers, just try to stick to the same format, the same formula, and master it. Once you get that, then you understand how the haircut's supposed to be shaped and you understand what it's supposed to look like. Then you can veer off and you can do whatever you want and you'll always get the same results. But in the beginning, like I said, I just really tried to make it as simple as possible so that people could just literally pick up the clipper that have never did a haircut in their life, that want to become a barber or something that they've been, you know, interested in, and just put on a guard and just start taking the hair down and then watch the DVD and just basically go from step to step and learn how to do it and just and it come out decent. Maybe not perfect like my haircuts, just kidding. But maybe not perfect, but it'll definitely come out better than if they didn't have no guidance at all. That's for sure. I've definitely, as a young child, I was diagnosed. I don't know if you want to use the word diagnosed, but I was told that I had ADHD, and I was told that I had dyslexia, and it's crazy because I learned how to read at a really young age. But then as I got older, I started not being able to read as well. I just wasn't able to focus and concentrate on, I wasn't able to focus and concentrate on the things that they wanted me to learn, like school and stuff like that. And I couldn't get along, and you know, there were certain sports that I would really excel at, but then there were certain sports that it just seemed like some things were, it always seemed like some things were really easy for me to pick up. And once I picked it up, I would excel at it way faster than everybody else, but there were certain things that would be hard for me to pick up. And I think everybody's like that to a certain extent, but for the most part, you know, I definitely think, I know I'm hyperactive. I'm definitely, you know, I got a lot of energy, you know, whatever I do, it's a good thing to be hyperactive. It's not a bad thing, but, you know, parents can't deal with their kids, so of course they go and put them on medication and stuff to calm them down. But my mom, thank God, she never did that to me. But, you know, I definitely had my learning curves as a kid with school, with everything, but I've always found that, you know, whatever I set my mind to, that if it's something that I really like in my heart, I feel like this is something I want to do, then I always excel at it. And barbering, from the time I picked up clippers, I learned how to cut hair and fade all on my own before I ever went to Barber College. So when I went to Barber College, it was really just to get the certificate. And then when I got into the barber shops that I had worked at, I had seen other barbers. As soon as I would see what they would do, so I wasn't the type that I needed a DVD for somebody to show me, you know, what clips to pick up, what this to pick up. It was more just like I could look at the haircut and see where the fade was lying on the head. If it was a high fade, low fade, mid fade, how it was lined up, all that. I could just look at it and I could be like, okay, boom, and I'd be able to do it on my hair, on the next haircut that would come in, or if they wanted that anyways. But
so you viewed it as shapes and patterns.
yeah, exactly. So it's like I've always been artistic. So it's like, you know, anything that has to do with art, I excel like easily. You know, it's not a problem for me to pick up anything artistic. So it was really just, barbering was not hard for me to pick up. It was really just me doing it, and just the fact that I loved it, I just picked it up really easily. Well, you can buy them from my website. It's www.vickthebarber.com, and you can also buy them from MD Barber Supply. And there's a few other barber supply companies out there that carry them. And yeah, it's pretty much, you can buy them on Amazon. Well, I pretty much just got a phone call from my friend Anton Cura, which is the shop owner of a shop in San Francisco, California, called Attention to Detail. And he basically brought me in, and we had a meeting, me, him, and Shane Nesbitt, and Chris, the owner of the Bay Area Hair Institute, Barber College out there in South San Francisco. And we talked about it, and you know, I'm all about bringing up young barbers and old barbers. It doesn't really matter your age, but I'm all about bringing up young barbers and teaching them, you know, what it really means to be a hardworking, dedicated barber. It basically, you know, was something that I was interested in because of the simple fact that you know, it was three young guys that didn't have money really to start Barber College, and you know, whoever won the challenge was going to be able to go to Barber College for free. So I felt like I felt like it was something that I wanted to be a part of. You know, I'm all about bringing up, you know, especially, you know, young gentlemen that don't have any type of you know, guidance, or you know, have problems with financially getting into school, because you know, that was me at one time. So you know, I definitely thought it was a good thing, and I wanted to be a part of it, and it was a great turnout, and I was really happy with the guys that showed up to compete in it. They were really humble gentlemen, and you know, the best man won. So it was cool. It was definitely a cool experience.
Okay, so that's someone else's TV channel. You've got your own channel going on with YouTube. You've got
Yes.
over 120,000 subscribers. Tell me how you went about this, because I'm sure a lot of barbers would be quite interested to know how.
Well, I had already had a previous YouTube channel. It was called, it was my dancing channel. I dance, by the way, so I already kind of knew more or less what to do on YouTube, how to, you know, not boost, but I knew how to get my videos, you know, views. Yeah, I mean, more or less, I just knew that if I wanted to make videos for YouTube, I wanted them to be high quality. You know, I just wanted to put out the best thing that I could possibly put out. I never want to put out anything, you know, it definitely doesn't have to be the best possible, but it has to be the best possible that I could do at that time. And so, you know, that was my main goal, was just to put out good quality videos. And I had watched a couple other barbers on YouTube that inspired me. One being Al's Millions, another one being Jay the Barber, and Alex Campbell. Those were really the only barbers on YouTube at that time, and I thought it was cool. You know, I seen that they had their products, I seen that they had different things, and you know, I had my goals that I wanted to accomplish, and I've seen that YouTube was working for a lot of people in a lot of different areas. It wasn't just barbers. I started studying all types of different YouTube channels and different just people out there that were using their channel, like even just for fitness and just getting paid, and you know, helping out their businesses. So I felt like this is something that I want to, you know, start doing. And I've always been kind of into videography, and you know, like I said, with my dancing and recording myself popping and doing all that kind of stuff. So you know, I recorded a video of myself cutting hair, and I got a bunch of feedback. It had a bunch of views within, I think within 1 month, excuse me, within 1 month it hit like 60,000 views, and at that time that's a lot of views. You know, now of course I have videos well over 1 million views, and you know, but back then I was like, holy crap, you know, 60,000 people, maybe not 60,000, but at least, you know, 40,000 people have watched this video. Most of them probably have watched it over and over again, and that's where the other 20,000 came from. But you know, I was just like, you know, this could be big, this could be good. And people started writing in the comments, you should make an instructional DVD. And then from there, that's how that happened. But really, it was just, originally I just felt like putting up a video and displaying my work, and I knew that, you know, in the long run it was something that was going to help me out. But I had already been cutting hair for a while. It wasn't like I just fresh out of Barber College started posting up YouTube videos just to be well known out there. It wasn't nothing like that. It was just something that well, I mean, I post pictures and stuff on Instagram, and you know, I post different ads for products and things like that I sell. But I don't really take Instagram that serious. I don't take it nowhere near. I don't think I take it anywhere as near as serious as other barbers out there, because my clientele is already established and my name's already established. If I move to any part of the country, any part of the world, and set up shop, people know who I am because of YouTube, and you know, they're gonna come because they know that I can cut hair. So it's like that option is always there.